Last week I was watching a video of the best and worst of November movies, and one person, while I was looking through the comments, said, well, what about Room or Brooklyn or several other movies that they mentioned that are getting some high praise? And so I commented to them, hey, maybe they didn't get that in their theaters. I know some of these movies just don't come to a lot of theaters. I know my theater didn't get Spotlight or Room or Brooklyn, and I listed several other movies. Well, right after that, I got an email from one of my movie theaters showing the movies that are coming out that week, and I got Spotlight, and so I'm like, oh, I actually got it this time. Alright, so Spotlight is based off of a true story. It's about a Pulitzer Prize winning article. Spotlight refers to the team of 4 investigative reporters that are part of the Boston Globe, and their section is called Spotlight. And they're assigned to investigate a possible criminal activity from a Catholic priest. And so they investigate to see if it's true or not and uncover a much larger conspiracy and bigger criminal activities, and wow, it is freaking amazing. Now, I really didn't know anything much going into this movie. I knew that it's based off a true story, so I tried to stay away from the true story events so that I can go in there surprised and not knowing the complete ending to it. And I knew it had to do with some criminal activity. I knew what the criminal activity was, but I didn't know the full extent of just how much of a conspiracy it is. It's one of those movies that is just really shocking to know that it's based off of a true story and that this kind of stuff actually happened. And my God, it is a great film. This is one of those biopics that really seems very, very realistic. It doesn't feel like a Hollywood dramatization. It feels like a legit documentary you're watching, and it's not documentary style. It's cinematic style. But it feels like a documentary because it's just so realistic, and even the characters act more like real people than Hollywood characters. And I think that's why I loved how all the actors did their job in this movie. Everyone was really damn good. If I were to pick the 2 best, I would say Michael Keaton and Mark Ruffalo did the best. But ultimately, the rest of the cast did an amazing job. Even Liev Schreiber, who was this very impersonal, very quiet person. Like, he had no emotions whatsoever, and he was really good at it. He was almost like a robot. He's the new guy coming into the newspaper, the new boss. He's really good, though. I think that was what made him really unique, is just he didn't really show a lot of emotion. Ultimately, because this is an investigative reporting movie, it is a bit of a thriller and a mystery, but like I said, it stays very realistic, so it might be more of a slow-paced thriller for most people. Now, I like a good mystery when it's done right. Usually I can figure out when a mystery is doing really good is if I'm on the edge of my seat, I'm thinking, okay, what's going to happen next, and trying to figure out and uncover the clues with the characters. And I did that with Spotlight. There was a few moments where I'm like, I bet this is going to happen, I get on the same mindset as the characters. Now, this is not going to be for everyone because, yeah, this is one of those movies that if you're entertained by true story events and that's going to keep you hooked and entertained, or if you're entertained with acting or with mysteries, then yeah, this might be the thing for you. But if you're entertained more with action and all this other kind of stuff, then maybe you won't be as entertained. But you gotta admit, this is a really great movie. Well, I guess you don't have to admit it, but it's a really well-crafted, really realistic, really great movie. All 4 of the main investigators all were handled really nicely because they all get their own little story within the movie and their own reasons and motivations to keep going. It's very clear that they care about uncovering the story and finding out the truth, and sometimes they really get emotional and actually care for some of the victims that they're interviewing, and it's seen in their eyes and their actions. Everyone totally has a whole reason why they keep going with the story. One of them finds out that about this particular house that something is wrong about it, and it's in his neighborhood. Rachel McAdams has a mother that's really involved with the church. Mark Ruffalo has had this loss of faith. Well, I think a lot of people have a loss of faith after witnessing what the church does in this movie, after uncovering the truth. And a lot of the characters just really struggle with it. While Michael Keaton's character's motivation isn't quite clear till the very end of the movie, you can tell that he's very driven. This is a very emotionally gripping movie. It has its funny moments, it has its moments where it's just completely shocking, and it has its moments where you're just completely horrified at some of the atrocities that happen and some of the cover-ups. I think this is a damn good movie that I don't want to give too much away. I feel like it's a movie that needs to be experienced for yourself and for you to determine whether you like it or not, because there's not a lot of flaws that I can think of that I would think that other people might not like, and there wasn't really anything I disliked about this movie. I was entertained throughout. I loved pretty much every second of it, and so you know what that means? You guessed it probably. Spotlight gets 5 stars. So have you seen Spotlight? What did you think about it? Go ahead and comment. If not, what is your favorite biopic movie? You know, movie based off of a true story. As always, this is Bruce Gifford, and this was just my opinion.